Welcome to my channel, everybody. I am going to be showing you a tutorial. It's going to be a two-part series for the chipboard house using the Welcome Home paper from Country Craft Creations. And there's also an album that's inside, and that will be a separate video. I'm going to apologize right now for my voice. I don't know if I have a sinus infection or whatever, but I just thought I would show you the end result before you decided whether or not you wanted to watch the tutorial. This chipboard, I hope I'm not making you dizzy. I'm holding the camera. This chipboard house is 8.5 inches across and about 5.5 inches deep, and at the tallest point, at the tallest point it is about 10 inches tall in the back. So it does have a clasp in the front that you can open, and then the doors will open. You don't really need to use that feature, being as I didn't put a top on the house. You can just set the album inside. Like I said, this part one will be for the house. Let me just show you real quick the album. This is the album that fits inside, and that will be on part two. So please continue watching, and I will show you and give you the measurements on how to make the chipboard house. Thanks. All right, we're going to cut out the pieces of chipboard for our base for the house that holds the mini album. And you're going to need one piece that is 8.5 by 10. Just one. This will be the back piece. And then I measured 4 inches down and put a tick mark, and I did that on both sides, measured 4 inches down. This is the 8.5 going across the top, so I measured 4 going down on the 10-inch side, if that makes sense. And then I needed to find the center of my 8.5, so that's 4 1/4, and I put a tick mark there also. I connected those lines, and that's where I'm going to cut on my cutter so that it looks like the top of a house, the roof. So those are the measurements: 4 inches down on the side, 4 1/4 in the center, and it was an 8.5 by 10 inch piece. The bottom of the house, you need one piece, and that's going to measure 8.5 by 5. I'm trying to adjust this. Hold on. Let's see. When I do autofocus, it's annoying, and then when I don't do autofocus, it's hard to see. Okay, there you go. 8.5 by 5 is the bottom. You're going to need 2 side pieces. The side pieces measure 5 by 6. 2 of those. And the front pieces that are going to be side by side and have the latch, you're going to need 2 of those, and those measure 6 by 4 1/4. 6 by 4 1/4. I did go ahead and make some of the construction strips, and I just did a random amount. I don't know how many I'm going to need. I might end up needing to cut more. I just did one 12 by 12 sheet. So 2, 3, 4, 5. I have 8 of them, and they are 1.5 inches by 12 inches, and then I scored at the 3/4 inch mark, and that's what I'll use to attach the pieces. And I'll be just kind of cutting them as I go to put the house together. So I'm going to go ahead and get my pieces laid out and ready, and we'll start gluing the construction pieces on. For the 2 sides, I'm going to start with my construction strips that are, I cut them each to be 6 inches long, and those are going to go right here on the sides of the back piece. When you trim these, and you're going to cut them at an angle, you don't want to go right up to the very corner. You want to go, let me see. Let me cut it and I'll show you. That one's almost too close. It looks like I got too close to the corner. Let me try the other one and see if I can get a little bit better to show you. Maybe that's a little bit better. And that's so that your corners, you don't see the chipboard through the paper. So when I open it, it's not all the way to a point. So this one I probably did too close. So let me do that to my other one also. every time you use a construction strip, you're going to need to cut it. This one is also 6 inches. And just cut it at an angle almost to the corner. So almost, but not quite a sharp corner. Okay, and we'll see how that works for us. That's supposed to help with not being able to see through. So then we're going to place those up against the corner here. And so we're going to put our glue just on one side, and the opening is to the inside of the chipboard. So I'm going to turn this over. And I want to make sure I get enough. My glue looks like it's stuck. Might have to clean out my tip of my glue. Feels like there's a clog in there. Where's the pin? I know a lot of people put a flower at the top of their pin so they don't lose it. I might need to start doing that. All right, let's see if that does the trick. No, it doesn't. Come on. Well, I'm going to take the tip off for right now then. And we'll just use the thicker. Yep, it must be the tip. Okay. And we want to butt that up right against the side. And press down. Okay, and we're going to do that to the other side also. Just putting glue on one side. And we're going to place it right, I'm going to turn this sideways just so it's a little bit easier for me. And I'm just going to line it up at the very edge of my chipboard. Press down real good, make sure it stays. Now I see just a hair of overhang and I don't want that, so I'm just going to there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and put the bottom piece on. This measures 8.5 inches long, and that will go on the bottom piece. And I'm going to go ahead and angle my corner. Angle it. And we're going to glue that one down here. Make sure, yep, that works. Just glue on one side. Line it up at the edge of the chipboard. Press down. Okay, so we have the 3 sides done. Next, I think I'm going to go ahead and adhere the bottom. Is that what I want to do? Yes, I'll do the bottom. So I'm going to put glue now on this other strip and then lay it down on the top of the bottom piece. Okay, so this is the 8.5 by 5 bottom, and I'm going to attach that just like so. Okay, so let me put glue on there, and I will probably have to change the angle a little bit so I can see to make sure I line it up right. Okay, so I have my glue, and I'm going to, like I said, I have to change the angle. I want to make sure I get this on right. I'm going to make sure it's adhered real well. Okay, so now we have the bottom. We are going to do the two sides now, and those are 5 by 6. So I'm going to attach this on this side. So I'll be putting the glue on this side of the construction strip and attaching it, and I'll do that to both sides. So I will put the other one over here. Okay. So I'm going to turn it sideways. I'm going to put the glue on. Boy, I'm so used to using that thin nozzle that it makes a huge difference when you take that off. I have a little extra glue that I'll have to adhere real well. Okay, turn it around and do the other side the same way. So we're going to place the glue on this construction strip that we've already placed down on the back piece. And line it up. A little extra glue oozing out. Press down real good on the inside. Now we will be putting the construction strips along the top also, so that we don't have that chipboard showing through, and we'll be doing it on the outside for stability. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Let's see, what do I want to do next? I think I want to put the two inside pieces so that it connects down here at the bottom. So those are going to be 5 inches. These are too big. This one's 5. There we go. Those two are 5 inches. So you need 2 of them at 5. You're going to angle the corner on both of them. Almost to the corner, but not all the way, so that you don't have a sharp edge, but a little bit squared off. And I'm going to place the strip right here on this bottom piece. So I will put glue on one side. And line it up at the edge of the chipboard. And push down. Okay, it's attached real well there. And another one. I'm gonna be real honest, I have not made a whole lot of, have not done a lot of chipboard shapes. The very first time I did, I made a box to hold tags, and it looked like a mini album, but when you open it, it was a box. So I sampled with that one, but I did it different. I painted the edges. So I don't like that. It didn't look as nice. But when I went to the retreat in Utah for Country Craft Creations, we made the camera box. And that's where I learned about these construction strips and how nice they work. So always learning something new. So now we're going to attach, we need to attach 2 on the side doors here, because we need to attach the front to them. So these are 6 inches long. So you need 2 more at 6 inches. Oh, I totally did that one wrong. Look what I did. Whoopsie. Gotta make another one. All right, I think yep, perfect. Put glue on one side. I'll have to cut another one because I screwed that one up. As close to the edge as you can without going over. Press it down on the inside. So I need another 6-inch piece, so let me cut one real quick. Alright, so now let me trim this one the correct way. Get all these little triangles out of here. I hate a messy workspace. Okay. Oh, I gotta cut it. So let's do this one correctly. Okay, and I'm going to turn this around, and I'm going to place it on the side here. This does kind of go pretty quickly. Up against the edge. And we're going to press down. Now, I am going to go ahead and do these bottom pieces next before I attach the doors or the front, because I think it'll be easier to get to. Make sure they fit nice. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on the other side from the bottom. And notice we did not put one on the front because we want our doors to be able to open and close. Well, that didn't do what I wanted it to. And I know this is in the way. I'll show you in a minute here. Okay, so I have that one adhered, pressing down real well. And now I'm going to attach this one over here. So let me get the glue. I apologize, it's kind of hard to show you as I'm going, but use a lot more glue when you take off that thin tip, that's for sure. Okay. And remember, we're going to put strips on the outside too. So if everything doesn't line up exactly perfect, we're going to be covering that with the construction strips on the outside. All right, so then we have the two front flaps, and you want to find the pieces that work the best to make sure that they line up. And you want it to line up. This one's perfect. And we don't want a construction strip on the bottom because we want to be able to open it, okay? So, line it up at the bottom. Flip this and push down real well. My angle is really bad, sorry. Okay, so that will close like so. And once we get the hook on, it'll line up nicer. And the last one is going to go here. and they should be pretty close to meeting. And I have a little bit of a gap, so I'm trying to decide if I should cut another piece. I don't, yeah, mine doesn't look, I'm going to cut another piece of chipboard. I'll be right back. All right, I cut another one, and I went a hair bigger than 4 1/4 just to make sure it lined up nice and neat and there was no gap in the center. So you might want to play it by ear with your piece, but mine wasn't lining up the way I wanted, so I just cut it a hair bigger than a 4 1/4. All right, and I'll press this down. Oh, it's hard to see, sorry. Put glue there. Want to line these up as close as I can. Okay, and I'm gonna push this down. So I'm pressing down on the inside. I'll show you in a minute. I'll turn it around. All right, so there we have it. And I have my 2 doors, and I will be putting a latch on those. So now it's just a matter of going around now and putting your strips on the outside also. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now that you've seen how to do the strips. We're going to put them everywhere, even up here on this side. Sorry, you didn't see that. We're going to put them up here, on here, on the tops, just so that we have that black border instead of chipboard. So I'm going to go ahead and measure mine and start putting them down. And again, it's just like you did on the inside, but now we're doing it on the outside. I'll be right back. Here's what the house looks like once I have all of the corners done, and the top, back, bottom. So now it is time to start covering our box. This is going to be covered with the glue got on there. We're going to cover our box with our paper. I'm using the Welcome Home. And there is a wood grain in there. Again, this is by Cartabella. Sorry for the crinkle sound. So I'm going to decide if I want this wood grain. Oh, that's chocolate. Let's see. Let me find it. Is this it? Yeah. So I'm trying to decide if I want to use this wood grain to make it look kind of like a wood house. I don't know, I'll have to kind of play around a little bit and see what I end up coming up with. But let me show you how I decide what to cut my decorative paper, the measurements. My doors, for example, are 4 1/4 by 6. So I'm going to take 1/8 of an inch off. So instead of 6, I would go 5 7/8, and instead of 4 1/4, I'm going to go 4 1/8. Okay, so take 1/8 of an inch off of both sides. So for the bottom was 8 1/2 by 5, so I'd take 1/8 of an inch off, and so that's going to be 8 3/8 by 4 7/8. Okay, so I'm going to cut my decorative paper, and then I'm going to start putting it on with the art glitter glue. I'm going to do the outside first, and then I'm going to put my closure here, and then I'll do the inside of the doors. Okay, so outside first is what I'm going to do. And it'll be easy to put your paper on the inside because it still opens. Okay, so 1/8 of an inch shorter on all sides. I'll cut my paper and I'll be back. Okay, I forgot to tell you that when I was doing the construction strips, it ended up being that I needed 2 12 by 12 sheets of black paper. That's what I ended up using to make sure I had all the sides covered with the construction strips. I started cutting out the wood grain paper to adhere to my house. So my left-hand door is 5 7/8 by 4 1/8. I went ahead and put black soot Tim Holtz distress around the edges, and I will glue that there. Now for some reason this door was a hair bigger, so I had to cut my paper just a hair bigger. So I ended up going 4 1/4 across by 5 7/8. So you'll just have to measure yours to see how that turns out. So that will be like this. Try and line up the wood so that the lines match. And then my side pieces are 4 7/8 by 5 7/8, and those will go there. And then the back, I thought I should probably let you know how I cut this out. I took 1/8 of an inch off. So remember, this was 8 1/2 by 10. So I ended up doing 8 3/8 by 9 7/8. Okay, so there's that. That was 8 3/8 by 9 7/8. So once again, I had to mark down, but instead of going 4 inches like we did the chipboard, I went down 3 7/8 on each side, 3 7/8. And then the center, you kind of have to eyeball it because you're taking 8 3/8 and dividing it in half. So it ends up being, let's see, it was 4 1/4. So, let me think, 4 1/4, 16, 4, 4, about 3/16, 4 3/16, something like that. So I just kind of eyeballed it. So I put the tick mark up there and I drew my lines, and now I'm going to cut those, and then that should line up. So I'm gonna do the outside of my box. All right, I had 3 sheets of the paper that looks like this, the wood grain. And so I was able to do the inside of the back and the outside of the back, and then around the front and sides. But I did not have enough for the inside. So what I did was I am taking from the Welcome Home, the board, the paper that looked like a chalkboard, and I cut off, made sure that when I cut it, I just had the wood grain at the top and not the sides. And so that's going to go on the inside. So like so, and I'll have one on the other side. Is this the right one? Nope. Okay. Now the doors also will have that paper on the inside so that it lines up and looks like, whoopsie, so that it looks like this. But I cannot put this on behind my door until I put my latch on. So I'm gonna, I still have to find something for the bottom. I might just do plain black. I haven't decided. And same way with the very bottom. But I'm gonna glue the 2 sides on the inside. And then I have this white picket fence that you get from the, like the miniature, like the miniature house section at like Hobby Lobby or whatever. And I'm going to have this going along the front and side. And so I will be placing a latch on the door. This is from Country Craft Creations. So I need to make sure that I put it in a place that's not going to get, I don't want it too low. I'll have to put it up a little bit higher. But the reason why I can't put the paper on underneath is because I have to poke holes first, because I don't want the brads to be showing on the other side. So I want to be able to cover that with paper. So I'll probably be gluing this down with hot glue gun. I'm going to go ahead. I did do the black ink around the, no I didn't, I got to do that. Black around the outside edges. I'm going to glue the 2 inside, and then I'm going to show you how to attach. Well, let me just do it. Sometimes I try and shorten my videos by assuming that people know what I'm talking about. And so sometimes that's not the case. I don't want to bore anybody and have you watch me glue and stuff, but sometimes that's the best way, I guess. So let me get these, and this one it looks like I did the black. Yeah. So I just take my sponge and go around the edge with, this is the black soot, so you don't see that white from the paper. Okay, and let's see if I went around this one. Yep, I did. All right, so let's go ahead and glue the sides. I'm going to tip this Well, for right now, I'll just leave it like that. I'm going to use the art glitter glue, and I did put the thin tip back on after I cleaned it, so it's working much better now. And remember, I want the wood grain at the top, not the bottom. I guess you could put it at the bottom like baseboards, but okay. So I'm going to, I know you probably can't see this, but I'll show you once I have it in. Okay, and now I'm going to take my burnishing tool, and I'm just going to make sure that sticks real well. Okay, so we have that side in. Now I'm going to turn it to the other side. And again, I know you can't see it very well. And I'm going to put the glue on my paper. I know I'm out of frame. I'll be with you in just a second. Okay. So I'm going to put it so that the wood grain is at the top. And I'm going to take my burnishing tool. How do I show you this? I don't know. Just pushing it down so it sticks real well. Okay, so now I'm going to place my latch on the doors. So this comes with two, but each of the latches needs 4 brads. So let me get those out. These are by Prima, and again, those are from Country Craft Creations. And let me just get out 1. Come on. 2, 3, 4. And then I need the latch. Okay. So I'm going to place my latch where I want it, and I'll take my pencil and draw the circles where the holes are. Sorry, that's my phone. I'm sure it's very important. Nope, not important. Okay. All right, so that's where I'm going to put it, and I'm going to place, I get a pencil. I need a fine tipped pencil. Oh, here's my pencil right here. Okay. Okay, hopefully that, yep, that showed up just fine. So now I have the poker tool thingy. Where's that at? Where? Oh, here. I have this, and I can just poke them. If you have a small enough, I don't know if it would go through this chipboard though. I have a really small paper punch. I think I'm going to try this one and see if I can get through the chipboard and make sure it's big enough. Let's see, my son they saw us and asked if we wanted, oh, my son took his cousin to a basketball game, and they're there early, and so there were seats available in the front, so they asked if they wanted to be upgraded for free. That's nice. Let me respond. Cool. Okay, sorry for the distraction. Got to be a good mom and respond. Okay, so let me try. I'm poking this in and I'm twisting it back and forth, kind of going around so that the brad, I'll need to see if the brad will fit in there. It does. Okay, so then let's try go where that hole was. I'm gonna go around, see if I can get the brad in. Whoopsie. Oh, are you kidding me? I'll have to look for that. I have a very wild rug and it's gonna be hard to find. Yep. Oh my gosh. Small little devils. Okay. And you know what? Maybe I should put this on first and make sure that it lines up okay. Okay, so I just put the latch on that I poked the holes for, and I'm going to spread those out. Spread the brads out. Okay, so you can see I spread that out, and now I want to make sure it's straight. And before I open that one, I just want to make sure it's lined up real well. And I'm pushing. Now you could add a little bit of adhesive underneath here, but I think I'm not going to in case I need to adjust it a little bit. So now I need to get my flashlight and see if I can find that other brad that just fell on the floor. Seriously? I might just have to get another one and look for it later. Oh my gosh. It's a brown brad and I have green and brown carpet or a rug. This is like looking for a needle in a haystack. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and use one of the other ones from the package so you don't have to wait for me forever. And I'll look for that later. Okay. So now I'm going to do the same thing where I marked my holes. I have my, I don't know what you call this. I'm kind of going around in a circle. Next one, I'm kind of moving it around to make the opening larger for the brads. Let's see if that fits. Yep, first one does. And the second one does. Okay, so let me take those back out now that I know that they fit. And I'm going to place the other part of the closure. Line them up. Put the brad in. And let me... Okay, and the second one. And open the brads in the back. Are you kidding me? Hold on. That is not going to, well, does that work? Yes, it does. There we go. And to be real honest, this is kind of for looks, even though we'll be able to open it. I probably will just set things in and out from the top, but the closure does work. Nice, nice, nice. Okay, so now I can glue the paper on the inside of behind the doors. So let me open up the doors. Yeah, I say that. Once they're closed, there we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and glue on the rest of my paper. I just so happen to have a Spellbinders die that is in the shape of a window, and so I did take a piece of the decorative paper and cut it out, and see these doors actually open, and so I'm going to place that here. But before I do that, I thought I needed something behind the window. So in the ephemera pack there was this little guy, so I'm going to glue that behind there, but there wasn't another one, so I went to another piece of ephemera and just cut out this one, and so I'm going to glue those behind the windows like so. So these will be open at the top. I also am going to take the piece of ephemera that I found and put that on catty corner right here on the front, and then I'm going to attach my fence with hot glue and add some flowers around the base. And I'll probably, when I put this on, I might put this underneath of it, and like a window box kind of, and then just add some flowers around that too. So that's how I'm going to wrap up the box, and then I'm going to make the album that goes inside in a different video. So if you want to find out how to make if you want to find out how to make the album that fits inside this house box, then you'll need to see part 2. Again, this is the Welcome Home collection by Cartabella. You can find it at countrycraftcreations.com, along with the ephemera and this lock. And the fence I got from a hobby store. But other than that, you should be able to find everything you need. The chipboard was also from Country Craft Creations. They have the 12 by 12 sheets. So hopefully you find this easy to make, and I'm anxious to see what people come up with. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Have a great day.